Yo, what is up, guys? It's the Nightwing at Way of Life Esports coming at you guys with another League of Legends video here today. This is going to be the C9FanCast Season 2, Episode 9. And as always, it is sponsored by Pornhub and Chevy. And despite what Warren says, I do get women. Is that true?
No.
Oh my god. Why are you no
Funny.
fun? I feel like if I took you to a bar, you would be like no fun playing pool the whole time.
I would get the women. You would be
What?
the one.
What do you mean? I've gotten a lot of ladies in my life. Lots of women just throw themselves at me. But this week...
High school seniors don't count.
Oh my god, you're going to jail. You are just going to jail. Cut the mic, Warren. Oh my god. So, this past weekend, the LCS 2021 mid-season showdown took place. You had TSM taking on Team Liquid, and you also had Cloud9 taking on 100 Thieves. Cloud9 and Team Liquid move on into the winner's bracket. TSM and 100 Thieves move on to the loser's bracket to face Evil Geniuses and Dignitas, respectively. And if you are a fan of the LEC 2021 Spring Split Playoffs kicks off this Friday. So if you're watching this video, then Fnatic is probably already facing SK Gaming. Then you will also get a chance to see G2 Esports versus Schalke No Fear. And then on Sunday, you have Rogue versus Mad Lions. So joining me here this week is Warren. What's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm good.
Ready to talk some League?
How are you?
Pretty good. Actually, I got my hair done, make sure I got to look fresh for the ladies, and then came home because it was freezing as hell outside. I don't know if you guys are like live in California, but it's been, routinely pretty cold recently. It's been just, I hate the cold weather. I don't even know how people live in like Chicago. Like, I could not deal with cold weather. Like, my ears freezing, my fucking feet being frozen. Nope, couldn't be me. But the first best of 5 in the LCS 2021 midseason showdown was TSM versus Team Liquid. Now, me and Warren...
I think you have to...
But to be fair, this was an interesting best of 5 because I actually predicted TSM. I really did. I genuinely thought they were the better team coming into this best of 5. And, like... To be honest, if you look at the games that they played during the LCS 2021 Spring Split, TSM 2-0 Team Liquid. But to be fair, I kind of understood why people picked Team Liquid over TSM. They do have better players in a lot of other positions that you need them to be. And it was just going to be one of those toss-up series. I mean, TSM did win against them previously. They pretty much smashed them in their other games. It just goes to show you potentially what you were talking about, about best of ones being like a super big, like, I don't know, not the best indicator of strength, maybe. It's just where the best of 5s really come from for these teams. But have you got a chance to really look over anything more of the series to, see what else they could have did actually? Or it was just team diff that day?
I think it was a combination of the mental from the first game and being so far ahead. Huni was playing Renekton like he's supposed to be. They had a late game condition. I just think there's mental bloom and not closing out the game and setting up around objectives cleanly and just like playing like the TSM that we were seeing in the last 3 weeks. That was like they get one loss, even though they're in the losses, they were playing ahead and you could see it as like a convincing win. But I don't know. I think maybe mental boom kicked in. I would definitely say draft issue. Also, I feel that Team Liquid punished them. Like, I think teens improve better when they get punished because they're like, it's like when a kid steals but doesn't get caught, but then when he finally gets caught and gets the punishment, he's like, okay, I'm not gonna do that again because it wasn't worth it. So like, I think it was a good lesson, but I feel that EG could play spoiler and knock TSM out because they're in the
shit. Okay.
I mean, because like think about that team like on like Impact is pretty good, but we could get into that later. But like it's definitely gonna be definitely I don't think there's really much to I don't think there's anything that they could have done. It's not like it wasn't like most of the games. It was a 3-1 series, but it was only one game that had like a
it was game 2. It was only game 2 that was a stomp, actually.
Yeah. Game 2 was the only stomp. So sometimes when you see like, I think like the same thing happened for Fnatic last year. They got like a a 3-0, but it was like a hard 3-0
Yeah,
for
it's just
TSM.
like, the brain dead casuals just see a 3-0 and go, oh yeah, it was a 3-0, it was a clean 3-0. It's like, that's not really how those work. Like, if the games are close, then I can kind of understand that. But to be fair, there's the other side of the argument where if it is a 3-0, then if it is close games, then why is the team that's actually being 3-0'd in those close games closing out? So it's one of those things. I guess you could probably argue it either way. Looking at TSM and their drafting phase got criticized this past weekend when they faced off against Team Liquid because of the Seraphine pick in Game 4. Now, we talked about this before because we, broke down the games, previously in a separate video. But as the more I thought about it, the more it didn't even make sense to put him on Seraphine. But because he did win game 3 on it. But the issue here is TSM has to win that game in order to get to game 5. And I personally think putting your best player, obviously, on a supportive champion in a must-have win game is just never going to be the thing you want to do. I mean, Power of Evil and Sword are the best players on the team. They should really never be on quote-unquote supportive champions. Sword Art was going to have to be on like a playmaking support like Galio, Thresh, Nautilus is fine, but that's like putting Sword Art on someone like, I don't know, Zyra, like back in the day, it just wouldn't make any sense for his playstyle overall, and I think it would massively hinder him in having an impact in the game, and I think that's what happened too. They put PoE on a supportive champion, and he just couldn't really have the same impact he had in the other game. Now, I get the scoreline said he was like 4-3 or something like that, but, it doesn't really matter in that case. I mean, the biggest liability people said coming into the series was going to be Huni, and I think Huni played fine, actually. I don't think
Against one of the best top laners in the league.
Yeah, I don't think the Rumble pick he had in game 2 was fine. He had a lot of really nice equalizers. If the team was just a little bit further ahead and didn't get shit stomped that hard early on, that would have actually been a really nice composition to have a Rumble in. Your Rumble equalizer is going to be really good against Nidalee, Ahri, and Tristana. Huni's Renekton game against Alfari looked pretty solid, actually. So, it goes to show you in a best of 5, if you can give a player a stable pick and you can actually just give them something of comfort, I think they'll actually play pretty fine. Now, what is the other criticized thing for the drafting phase? So, we talked about game 1. So, people were praising Team Liquid's drafting phase. I'm going to be honest here. Like, TSM, I don't know, gave Team Liquid a lot of shit. Like, in game 1, when you're giving Team Liquid Gnar, Hecarim, Orianna, Jhin, and Thresh, and TSM's got fucking Renekton, Udyr, Azir, Misfortune, and Seraphine, I mean, one pick on TL's comp literally runs all 3 of them down. Like, you literally just need Hecarim and Orianna, and that's it. So I wouldn't really be praising Team Liquid's drafting so far, because you gotta kind of factor in, if you're giving away that many power picks, that still makes sense, I guess, because if you factor in just game 1, they were winning, though, so it wasn't like they were losing. But mental fortitude, I think, was brought up as well for TSM. It's just one of those things where you could chalk it up to mental fortitude, or you could chalk it up to the better team coming online, because it was the case of, Jensen obviously not having the best, LCS 2021 spring split. Obviously, he was not playing his best at all. Most people still put him in their all-pro team for the mid laners at, like, the 3rd team. And I was thinking to myself, well, does he really deserve it? But to be fair, like, the pool of NA players is just so bad that, it really doesn't matter, I guess. I mean, he played okay more than the worst, LCS mid laners currently, so I guess that's fine. It's one of those things where I think people just lean so far toward the other way that they don't really look in just the middle. Yeah, you could technically mentally implode after a game that you, in theory, should have won. But to be fair, what if the team that was losing just started capitalizing on mistakes and then the better team just came on? One of those things I don't really see a lot of people just, go over. But anything else you want to say about this, or no?
No, not really. I think the thing is that, like, Team Liquid is always known for being a little slower of a team, and they punish stuff more. So we just saw, like, the team new old of Liquid. I know that sounds weird to say, come online, and, like, when you have a better player like an Alfari over, say, Impact, he's gonna make, because he had some good Gnar ults, he had some good Hecarim had some good ults as well, and then and Jensen, he played a lot of different champs. So we
Yeah, he pulled out the Silas. I thought that was good. That means their drafting phase is going to be a lot more diverse going on, because if you don't ban it, he's going to pick it against a composition that you're probably going to not want your ultimate stolen.
right.
One of the other things I wanted to bring up to you, because there's been so many debates on like Reddit and shit like that about
Right.
Gnar and Renekton. So I don't know, man. Some of these kids have
Okay.
not played the game for a very long time. So back when I first started, all the way back in like season 4, Renekton wasn't really an ideal pick because the game would go so late, and Renekton really doesn't add anything later on during the game. Like, and late game now is like 32 to like 40 minutes, right? So
Yeah.
I think people have this narrative stuck in their head about a champion where it just hasn't been that way for a very long time. Late game in League was reduced by like 20 minutes, like literal years ago. Back in what, 2018 World Championship is like the best time it probably happened. Starting with, season 9, season 10, obviously. I think a lot of people just don't really understand that when it comes to like pro players, you always want to have the more advantageous matchup. Now Gnar's is different because Gnar, his impact literally relies on him being a Mega Gnar flash ulting, right? But that's going to be a lot more
Yeah.
reliable for teams. It's like that same argument that
Uh,
it's like the same argument people brought up earlier on before season 11 started this year. Remember how they said a bunch of assassins are going to see play with all the mythic items and bullshit like that? I was like, maybe. And then, no, it didn't matter at all. It's just power. It's just Azir, Orianna, Zoe,
Syndra.
Galiotia, Syndra, because the thing is, even though
They're stable picks.
yeah, that's always what they are. Pro players just value stable picks that can hard smash lane and translate into advantages. There's a reason why Hecarim is still picked. He's just a hard farming jungler, has a really good ultimate for team fighting, and can always get into the backline. That's always going to be something you're going to need. There's a reason why Lee Sin is always picked generally if he's meta, because he offers so much early on. If you get ahead on Lee Sin early game, you generally win. So what do you think about this whole like Gnar versus Renekton debate people be having?
So the Gnar versus Renekton debate. The As we've seen the evolution of items, Renekton has now slowly crept into. I think Renekton is, by design, a very good Dune. Like you always see him, no matter what worlds, no matter what tournament, you'll see a Renekton. And he pairs up good with people in the top lane, you could do Renekton Graves, you could do Talia Renekton, you could do,
Remember a Renekton Elise?
Elise and Renekton Elise.
That shit was disgusting.
And when you get ahead, you can snowball, he can side lane. Yeah, I understand that he's not like a Gnar, but the thing about Gnar is you need a rage bar. Like, we see Gnar is basically a cannon minion when when he doesn't have his rage bar. Let's be honest. So like it's what Blippo said it on a stream, and it's good. I'm glad you brought up Gnar and Renekton. He said Gnar is good if the player is good on Gnar, which is true. Like, we've seen good Gnars, and we've seen like when Huni was starting out in the beginning of the lockout, people were like, "Dude, don't put this guy on Gnar. It's terrible. Don't do it. Stop it." Like, So it's one of those things where Gnar is a good champion, but Gnar is also a very oppressive champion. We've seen in, what was it, the 2017 Worlds, where it was picked a lot. It was picked a lot. I think Haunter played it.
Yeah.
He had that like famous like ult at
Yeah,
like
it was in when they faced Flash Wolves and he did the 5-man Gnar ultimate to the wall.
yeah. So yeah, and
just had to bring up TSM, yeah, Warren, yeah.
Kuve played it. I mean, it's Gnar, Renekton, even Sion. We see Sion.
Yeah, Sion's always. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
These classic champions have good designs, and people know how to manage them. Now,
remember Maokai was that for a while too. Maokai was just a stable top laner for a long time until they changed his fucking ultimate.
And they made the mana issues. So like, and now we've seen now the stable picks now are Aatrox and Ornn, like these new champions that got brought in to rival the old guard. So it's more of a preference thing, and it's also a region thing too, where like you see in EU they play a little bit more Aatrox. They don't play on. I don't think they play Gnar as much. Whereas if you go to Korea, not Korea, LPL, they love Renekton. Like they that
That's where the
champion.
meme comes from, the Chinese Renekton.
Yeah, they love that champ, but they know how to win with it, and they do play Gnar sometimes. And they also play those other picks like you'll see more Camille's than you see. I mean, you've seen a couple Camille games, but
Mhm.
I think it's one of those things where if Gnar gets buffed, he's a very impressive tune, because of what he can do. He can side lane. Once he has rage, he can team fight.
Mhm.
He can duel. He can split push. Um, and so he can be like, so you might see some nerfs, but I mean Renekton, they nerfed Gore Drinker, they nerfed his Q, but people are still playing him. Like same thing with Nazir. It's one of those things where these champions aren't that bad even when they get nerfed because the items. We
Yeah.
saw what happened when he got when Bork and Death Dance got changed last year. Renekton was a very highly contested pick as well again. So it's one of those things where I think it comes down to player preference and what are you going for in the draft. I mean, because I mean Gnar scales, but Renekton doesn't scale too bad.
The
So
I
it's
think
a
it's
flip
just
flop.
it's one of those things. I just don't think a lot of people understand. Like, let's say like we're on a team, right? And let's say I'm the top laner because obviously I'm a god, right? But let's say I'm not really good at team fighting. Well, maybe I'm really good at smashing lane and translating that into an advantage. People have to understand not every team is the same. Not every team is going to have the same type of issues that another team may face. So an example is like you could probably give the Shy Renekton and Gnar and you're probably going to get a carry performance, right? Well, if you give that to someone like, I don't know, Jigenda, then you're probably not going to get the same type of thing, Or a player like Genax. Genax can play like Aatrox game plank really well, but maybe giving him Renekton and hoping he like hard smashes lane is gonna be the thing. I don't think so. It depends on your top laner though. Like a player like Bwipo is gonna be able to play a champion like Gnar, I think, better than a champion like Renekton, because I think the type of impact he wants to make in a game is gonna be different than the type of impact that a player like Fudge is gonna make in the game. It's just all dependent on what top laner you have. Or
Yeah,
because there's a reason why champions like Darius will come back in the meta every now and again. What other top lane champions are there? Aurelia, if she's nerfed, she's not really useful. Also, if Aurelia gets smashed in lane, she's kind of just useless. Like even if Renekton gets smashed in lane, flash stunning an AD carry or a support could be a game changer for a team fight. And if you ult, you're not going to instantly die. So that's still very, very useful things. Gnar, even though if he's not in mega form, Mini Gnar can still poke you out, and then also having your Rage Bar, you can also use that to threaten another team at objectives, at choke points. I just think that there are two different champions with two idealistic kits that you want to have for pro play. I don't think one is better than the other. It just all depends. Like, I think people nowadays I think we talked about it on my streams too. People nowadays just tunnel so hard on one thing, they completely forget about every other thing. It's like, what if your top laner is not good at smashing lane? He probably needs Gnar then. People literally said, give Huni, Shen, and Gnar. There's a reason why people said that, because obviously he's probably not going to smash the lane against a much better top laner. But then again, if you're drafting and someone takes away the other power pick, well, you might have to take Renekton, or you might have to take Gnar. Like I'm trying to say, guys, it all depends, though. It's never like, what's that saying? One shoe fits all, right? One size fits all. Yeah, like, it's literally, it's just like that. That's the perfect saying I can make for it. Like, a player like Demont, because people use the other example, right? Because that's the next series we're going to talk about, is Doinby and Demonte, right? There's two different things with that. I get it. People want to say, well, if Demonte played this Doinby playstyle, then they would win. There's a problem with that. One, I don't think a lot of people really watch the LPL to really understand Doinby as a player. Because people say he's not mechanically gifted. I don't know about that. He's been smacked. He's, in some game, most of the games I've watched, he's not exactly hard losing to like a lot of the mid laners, though. It's that one thing, because you've been watching for a long time too. Remember how people said Curl was a bad mid laner because he would just get like shit stomped by Faker? But he was like better than everybody else he would face? To a certain extent, he still had his issues, right? I think people just like tunnel on like one narrative and never ever actually look into the player. Yes, Doinby facing off a player like... If Doinby faced off against a player like Rookie, Knight, or the new guy on RNG, wasn't it Cryan? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Scout. Yeah, he's gonna get beaten because they're just better. Like in League, guys, please listen. In League, sometimes it's not just about being worse. Sometimes the other player is just better than you. That's the thing. I don't know if you guys watch competitive sports like basketball. There could be a really great basketball player, like a really good basketball player, like Carmelo Anthony, right? But a player like Steph Curry is just better. You know, it's just how the game works. Or because most people obviously would say that Shy is the best top laner sometimes, right? Give or take, right? Well, that doesn't mean your top laner's worse. He's just better. This is how it is. I'm pretty sure like Sneaky's not the worst ADC a lot of people made him out to be, right? But as Cloud9's probably seen, Sven's actually pretty good. He's just a better player. So I just think that the whole narrative of Doinb and Damonte is so miscued. Like, yeah, Doinb is gonna lose to a player like Rookie. We all would. That's not a knock on Doinb. Also, Doinb's a world champion. He's won a domestic title. And that team is more or less so either always contending for first or top 4 in the LPL, which is different because they have 17 teams over there. And it's the other thing no one really brings up with the 100 Thesis playstyle is because you got to kind of factor in this. What if they choose not to play that playstyle either? Like, no one's even thought of that. What if they literally can't play that playstyle? And what if Damonte is not good on champions like Rumble mid, Kled mid, Nautilus mid, Karma mid? And what if he feeds even harder than he does now? It's just one of those things I don't think no one brings up. What do you think about the whole, like, fucking, people comparing, like, Doinb and Damonte currently?
I think it's a bad comparison. So, first of all, Doinb is not a conventional mid laner. That's why people like Nemesis said what he said during that 2018 Worlds and still got dumpstered by them. That's why, like, LS says the same thing, but, it's just he doesn't have, like, he's not doing the fastest plays, but he's always consistently high challenger. He always gets FPX so far since been in there into the playoffs. He's always in, like, the at least top 5 discussions for mid laners in LPL. And when you need him to carry, you can put him, like, Rise late game hurts. I don't know what anybody realized that, but even though Rise might be a quote unquote Doinb champion, but late game Rise hurts. I don't know if people realize that.
And they gave him Damonte. They gave Damonte Rise. Remember in the LCS 2020 Unlock-It, they gave him Rise. He was consistently going 0-4. Like, they gave him those champions. He just didn't perform well on them.
I just don't know. Like, my problem with 100 Thieves is, like, they started losing, and instead of figuring out the problem, they just switched the guy out. That's not how you, like for instance, Fnatic, they don't have nobody to switch out with, so they got to figure out, like, okay, what are we doing? I mean, they still made playoffs. They had, like, probably one of their worst seasons, but when you keep flip flopping and not knowing what you're doing, and you're not, even when you switch the guy out, you're not getting better results. I mean, going 50% over 6 games isn't really that. It's not bad, but it's not good. Like, you broke 500, okay, that's fine. But, like, you when you make such a big change, you're looking to improve, correct the issues rather, right? Because then just putting in Ryoma was just another band-aid, which doesn't make sense to me. I think when they purchased this team, like, this is why I'm not a fan of, like, big rosters or 7-man rosters unless the person comes in, unless it's like a best of 5 series, and then, like, to me, I think Damonte should have got subbed in the game 3. Like that. I mean, why go? You lost the game 1, you lost game.
Yeah, that's game 2. It's also weird because they faced Cloud9 last year in their first matchup in the LCS 2020 Spring Split playoffs, remember? And Niski, like, just actually ran a train on this guy. It's like Niski literally got Ryomo's mom and just bingoed her all fucking game wrong. Then people gotta factor in Niski did that to him. Niski, who was considered at that time the best mid laner, right? Now he has to play Perks. Do they really think that was gonna work? Like, that makes no sense. If they saw last year that he couldn't even beat Niski, if he beats Perks, like, what the fuck magic is this? Like, I just don't know what they're doing, because in most of these situations, for most of these roster swaps I've seen over the years of watching League of Legends, like, if you're swapping someone out, you need to be getting something of better value, right? They swapped Damonte out to get Ryoma, and they've just got nothing of better value. That makes, like, no sense, you know? Also, it's something that we touched upon earlier this year before season 11 started for League of Legends competitively around the world, which was, I think you or me, or I think it was someone also brought up the fact that once they bought the Golden Guardians roster for 100 Thieves, you also have to kind of factor in, did these players only do well because of a specific moment? Peaking. The patch could have been really, really good. They could have had a good read on the teams they were facing. It's just one of those things a lot of people just don't really understand.
They had a different coach too. They had a Narrow.
They had a different coach. Also true.
Right.
It was the meta for these guys too. The meta who he's literally first picking Morgan drafts. You don't, like, what kind of horse shit is that? But it works, right, for them. And now, I'm not saying like they got figured out, but it's just what I told people, like, you gotta kind of understand when certain things happen in League, they happen for a reason. They're not just happening, oh yeah, the magical fucking fairy dust is all over my face. Oh my god, Damonte's come. Oh my god, more Tanner time. Oh, please. No, people, understand this, please. When something happens in League, it's also based in something different too. So, like I brought up before, Golden Guardians, you call them 100 Guardians. Golden Guardians literally could have only did well because they could have scrimmed TSM a lot, and they could have obviously had a good read against TSM. They also could have just played really well on that patch. It happens. It happens at Worlds a lot. One team peaks really well at Worlds on a specific patch, and then they do well and they win. IG, FPX, SKT multiple times, Samsung's 2 rosters that obviously did well in one. You know, it just happens. People need to understand League is so, like, dependent on what's happening in the moment. It's not like a lot of things can translate over. It can obviously happen, and it was good for 100 Thieves for a little bit there. It really was, you know? So that's just what I want to bring up. I think the Damonte fucking Doinby angle is so stupid. Like, it's not even comparing a world champion to a fucking LCS mid laner. It's like you're not even watching his games. Like, yeah, if I face LeBron James, I'm probably gonna lose. Does that mean I'm a really bad basketball player? Probably not. Maybe, probably. It's like, how would I say this? Who's a really good mid laner that people love nowadays? Caps, right? Caps is really good.
Yeah.
Caps is not as...
Yeah, the Western Faker.
Caps is not as good as Showmaker. I don't know what kind of horse shit someone was talking about a few episodes ago. What I was trying to say was, he's just not as good as Showmaker. It is what... Like, he's good. I'm not saying he's not, but he's not as good as this guy. This is how I see it personally. But the other 2 matches to talk about this week is the losers bracket, and your team starting first. TSM taking on Evil Geniuses in the first match of the losers bracket for the LCS 2021 midseason showdown. So, despite all the odds, is EG gonna upset TSM and knock him out of playoffs this early?
I hope not. I'm gonna say it's gonna be, man, it's rough because of that. I want to say TSM 3-2. It's definitely gonna go a 5-game series for sure. Kind
of like a reminiscent of the last playoffs when they had Golden Guardians. Yeah, holy shit! Find to the losers bracket. There we go. Holy shit!
Yeah, the miracle run starts all over again. So.
Hey, we'll see you guys in the finals, actually.
Yeah, so that's how I feel.
Oh, TSM. Now, this is going to be a banger, because TSM taking on Evil Geniuses. Let's start in the top lane. Huni versus Impact. 2 players that have actually been pretty good, despite all of the narratives against them this year coming into Season 11. You know, Impact can't play carries. Huni's going to suck. I said that it was true for a little bit of time. Huni was going to be trash. You know, they've actually both did really good for their teams. I think these are the perfect rosters to shine on if you're Impact and if you're Huni. Now, depending on who's better, I don't know. It's actually been a pretty big toss-up, because I
think it's fairly even.
I think it's fairly even, actually. I would give this a tie, honestly. I think it all depends on what you value more, like we talked about before. If you're going for, like, straight carry picks, I guess you're going to say Impact. That's probably a fair choice, but in terms of how Huni's played recently, he's not been a liability either. So I'll just chalk that one up to a tie. The jungle matchup, Spica versus Fenskaren. Because the issue here with Evil Geniuses, as I know people have been like predicting them to pull off the upset, right? The problem here with that is like Evil Geniuses, yeah, they did beat TSM in their last game, but the other game TSM beat them in was not close at all. And Evil Geniuses definitely have a style difference to TSM. Now, could that style that they play with Jizuke be better than TSM's like controlled, sophisticated, what's the other word I'm looking for? Controlled mid lane macro play, right? It's one of those things where if Jizuke gets ahead early on, that could translate to a win. Could, because he could also just get you that lead and throw it too. Because I know there was someone that brought up some stupid fucking narrative point that makes no sense logically. They were like, well, even though Jizuke, he is kind of playing good, people just aren't really seeing it. Hey, that's the reason why their team is 6th place, right? That makes no sense. But what are you thinking about the jungle matchup, actually?
Well, since Garen is a very competent and reliable jungler, personally, listen. I don't want to go off topic, but I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Team Liquid. If Team Liquid had got since Garen instead of Santorin, that team automatically. I'm saying that team's number 1. Not even questioning it.
Yeah.
But that's neither near here or there.
I wish they got him, actually. Hey, get him or Blabber. They're like the best team in the league. Holy shit.
For me, it's the bot lane. I don't think is a real. I think Sword Loster is better than definitely Gnar.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
For sure. Jizuke, it's all about how the jungler plays around the mid lane, because they'll probably put Huni the weak side, depending, or they might put Huni on a carry. But if they put Huni on a carry, they probably put what's it called? Impact on his famous Vladimir or Gangplank. Those are his like quote unquote carry but weak side. Some of the best weak side champions, because Gangplank hurts when the game gets longer. So
also true.
So it's really gonna depend on like how the lane states, which jungler is more involved in the mid lane and getting their bot lane. I don't think top lane is gonna be a factor at all. That's the way I look at it.
The issue with Ichi's playstyle is which player Svenskeren is trying to play through. He's going to inevitably play through Impact. Most people would say, wouldn't he play through Jizuke? No, he's not played through mid fucking split long. He's not even... I've barely seen him mid lane. Like, I get it, he's probably given him a few ganks here or there, a few wards. Yeah, I mean, that's what junglers are supposed to do. But I don't see their synergy good at all. They don't even really have synergy. I think Svenskeren just chooses to play top side more, because I think he genuinely thinks Impact can carry, give or take the resources Svenskeren can also give him. As I said before, with definitely an Gnar, I don't think Gnar is actually a bad support player, but to be fair, lanes are kind of dictated also by your support now, more or less so than your ADC, but the issue here is I just don't think definitely in Lost. Is that really a toss-up, though? I think I'm just going to say that to Lost. Lost has been better than definitely all split long. And, we didn't really rank Lost too highly, though. Like, I think people were calling him, like the 6th best ADC? 5th best ADC? So, but I think he's been much better than definitely. And I think Sword Art's been much better than Gnar. I don't think TSM should lose this, actually. If EG win,
that's what I said about the first series.
Jinx yourself again. Like, you shouldn't lose this series. Like, TSM shouldn't lose this, but the issue here is, like, there's a world where they could, because they, like, on Evil Genius' side, they do have good caliber players. The playstyles just don't really match on them. And the issue here is, like, I don't really know what's been going on to, really, like, solidify why they haven't been playing that good. I'm pretty sure I'll go TSM 3-1, actually. Now, can Ichi win a game? Yes. Is there a possibility of them surprising? Yes. Problem with that is they have just not played good. Like, going off of what we saw all year long so far, at the current time of recording this, they really have not been playing that good. They have a playstyle difference. Jizuke is always just dying consistently. It's not that he's been the same player. He's just not been an impactful player in a good way. Svenskeren Rather, I just doesn't matter what I think. I think he's been a very good jungler so far all year long. Problem here is, it is predictable where he's gonna path. Definitely he's gonna be, I don't know, on fucking Kaisa or Misfortune and play just about as good as Sneaky did, which is not gonna win you the lane. But it might do well in team fights. Gnar, I think it just comes off the back of Gnar and Svenskeren obviously going around the map and making an impact. Now, unless Impact, or not even, yeah, also Impact. Impact needs to show up massively for the series. Also, you have to kind of factor in Gnar would have to have his, like, FlyQuest level of support prowess to actually win in the game. Like, there's just really no way I could see TSM losing this, though. Like, even Power of Evil, I think he still played well in their loss against Team Liquid. So, yeah, that's why I'll say TSM win 3-1. And on Sunday, you have 100 Thieves versus Dignitas. So, there's some people, obviously, in our Discord that really like Dignitas, actually. The issue here is, I think they should be able to win this, actually. Because, let's go with the top lane. So you have Someday versus Fate God, right? You should be going for Fate God. Sorry, not Fate God. Holy shit. You should be going for Someday, right? Someday did lose a good amount to Fudge. That's the problem here. That's where it's like, it's not necessarily a toss-up. You could give, like, the slight edge to Someday. But what do you think about 100 Thieves versus Dignitas so far?
I think the pressure is on 100 Thieves more than TSM and EG. Because even if you put back the Monte in, that should realistically be a 3-0. Like, most people would have 100 Thieves winning, right? But because that Dignitas has overperformed people's expectations, EG beating TSM wouldn't be like, it'd be an upset, but on paper the bigger upset would be Dig beating 100 Thieves, because 100 Thieves was slated to be like the top 3 team. So, and TSM was a little bit lower. So when I look at everything, Saligo has been playing fine. So, and he's been playing better than Ryoma. That's not saying. I mean, they did get top 5, and they did get some quality wins. Sorry. So
you're good.
And then Neo has performed pretty well, along with Aftermoo should probably get, if they, I don't know if there's a comeback player of the year award, but I would say he deserves comeback player, because he definitely reignited his career with this split, because he's, after that 2018 was it 2018, that 2018 100 Thieves, I believe, he hasn't been the same. But that's also because of the players they got, and the expectations, like with Bang and all that stuff.
He started to look better last year. He started to look better when he was with Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna say this is probably, if I don't know, because 100 Thieves, I feel that, I'm just gonna say Dignitas, just because I feel like 100 Thieves don't know what they're doing. That's why I'm going with it. If they just stick to one sort of team identity, I could say, but I have a hard. Now, I'm not saying that 100 Thieves is a garbage team. That's not what I'm saying. Let me clarify that for anyone that watches this video or anything.
What I'm saying is,
all I'm saying is that when you don't have a team identity, any team can get upset easily, because the other team knows, okay, we have this clear plan. Like, we're gonna play around Darduck. Darduck's our engine that gets us going, right? Whereas what's 100 Days supposed to rely on FBI, but then you're trying to play through Ioma, but then you're leaving Someday on weak side, even though he can carry. It's like, well, make up your mind on what you want to do, and I'm just not. I don't feel comfortable picking a team when I don't know what they're doing. And consider their record, the last the performance with C9, and then their record ending the season, how they kind of lost more games. I just can't. I just have to go with Dig with. I think it's going to be a 5-game series, though. Personally, but
So looking at the jungle matchup too, like I think Dardoch has had a standout split so far. I think he's looked really good all year long. I think that closer has just massively started to decline, despite what rankings and analysts say. You can see that he's not been playing that good, but that also is very team dependent as well. So you look at the mid lane, you also have Saligo versus Ryoma or Demonte. There was that little like emoji Demonte put out on his Twitter, so maybe he's starting for the series, but I don't know. Now, if Demonte is starting over Saligo, there's a good shot. Demonte
Over
looks
Saligo?
yeah. Oh, sorry. Fuck. If Demonte is starting over Ryoma, holy shit, I'm glad you're here. So if Demonte is starting over Ryoma, there was that little thing he put on his Twitter page that I mentioned before. There's a good chance he could destroy Saligo. There's a good chance, and but the issue here is like, did Demonte even look better than Saligo during the past spring 2021 split we just played? Maybe. Like, you're still up in the air with that one, too. So even if they start Demonte, I don't think it automatically guarantees them, a victory. You're looking at the bot lane, too. I think the bot lane matchup is also fairly even between FBI and Huhi versus Neo and Afro. Neo's actually been another standout performing AD carry, during the spring 2021 split so far. Afromoose also, I think, looked really good. But Huhi and FBI also are insanely good themselves. You even saw in the Cloud9 series, they still weren't the detriment to 100 Thieves at all. They were just a really solid bot lane that was at least trying to get them advantages too. I think that right now, even with their because I think a lot of people are just like scapegoating all the issues into like mid lane and draft. There's way more issues than that, guys, than just draft and mid lane. I mean, they probably are just losing a ton of scrims. They probably just aren't playing very well, and it's getting into their heads that they're like bad players. And then Dignitas, since they pretty much have nothing to lose and everything to gain, they might actually come out and play spoiler. I think they are actually, and I think they'll actually win the series 3-2. I think Dardoch is so much of a better jungler than closer right now. I also think that Afro is a slight edge in Afro's favor over Huhi. Then it's also a slight edge in FBI's favor over Neo as well. So I think across the board you actually have some pretty interesting matches. It all depends though. Like, if 100 Thieves can thoroughly play through someday, which they never do, but hopefully they potentially can in this series, they have a good shot at winning though. So that's pretty much it for the best of fives for the LCS 2021 midseason showdown. And luckily for me this week, Warren actually watches the LEC. I know people say we don't talk about the LEC too much because, well, there's mostly NA people on here generally when we're doing shows. But who do you have over Fnatic versus SK? I already said like Fnatic's gonna just stomp the
man.
Fnatic should stomp the shit out of these guys.
Two teams I like, so it's because I like.
Oh yeah, you do like these guys.
Because I like the SK logo, and I'm a fan of Bippo. And I think Genax gets a lot of flack, and you have to remember he came from mid lane to top lane.
Yeah, he role swapped.
Yeah, he role swapped. And we've seen how that has happened so far. Like, look at RNG. Look at how they're doing with the role swap, and that's a harder region. So with Zhao going to top lane, and he's been mid lane for years. So definitely, I'm just using that as a comparison. Man, it's gonna come down to the bot lane and the supports making plays.
Dude, like I thought of that, but then I realized one thing. Even if you want to say, I would say, like, Treats is better than Hylissang, because I had Treats as my LEC 2021 Spring Split, like, MVP. Even if I were to say Treats is better than Hylissang, which I think he's played better during the split. Problem with that,
split, yeah, a little bit, yes.
Yeah, like, the problem here with that is they kind of auto-losing everywhere else. Like, would you take Genex over Blippo? Would you take Tinks over Selfmade? Are you gonna take Blue?
Yes.
Okay,
I would take.
That's
I've seen Tinks played. He's played for a guy that's in his first season. He's played up against what? Selfmade, Yankos, And he's done pretty good for a rookie on a team that wasn't expected with the rookies they had to. So for a guy that's coming in, because remember they had Trick before, and now you're putting in this rookie jungler against all of these other like Razork and Yankos, and I mean the only other rookie is Elioya, but remember Elioya look what he has around him compared to
Yeah.
tanks. Not to say that, I mean, SK clearly made playoffs.
You have the mid lane problem too.
It really
Like,
depends.
are you
It
gonna
really
take
depends.
blue? Are you gonna take blue over
No,
Nisqy? No.
no,
And
oh no, no,
are you gonna
no.
take
But
Jezu over Upset?
I've seen.
Upset's looked
I mean,
amazing.
Jezu has had games. It's gonna come down to treats and tanks. Honestly, it's really gonna come down to those two, like how they set the pace of the game. Jenox can play weak side. Pretty. I think, no offense, as much as I like Jenox, he's just a better aroma. which is not. Which is. I don't mean to be, but you get what I'm saying. He's a way better arome.
Everyone shits on Arome so hard. I was gonna use that comparison for Cloud9. Like Fudge is literally just an NA Arome that people have just like scapegoated fucking bullshit into just to fit their narratives. Like, but the issue here, dude, is like outside of maybe jungle and support, they kind of lose in like other positions fairly hard. Like, I like Jezu. I think he's actually played pretty good for a rookie, but Upset's just been on another level. Like, Upset's just been playing amazing. Also, you gotta kind of factor in Gen X to Bwipo. Remember, Bwipo played the Riven game where he, like, smashed them? Oh my god.
I just think, it's, like, the thing is, too, like, that's the thing, like, also, Bwipo has, like, a champion Ocean, and I think the coaching needs to stop just because I've seen Gen X played Aurelia. I've seen Gen X on, because I watch Tracking the Pros because I'm a top laner and I watch to see what champions are like. That's how I saw the rise of Gragas top lane, because I'm like, why am I seeing so much Gragas top lane? That's kind of how I got in. That was even towards the end of last season. So that's why I watch, and I've seen Gen X on Aurelia, and he can play the champion. So it's more of the coaching not feeling confident that he can play. Like the thing is, when you put a champion like Aurelia, that champion needs to get ahead to be, very scary. You know what I mean? So like if he gets a Gnar, Sion, Ornn, Renekton, Aatrox, he's fine. He can do
his best champion is Aatrox, though. If you get him Aatrox, there's a good chance they win the game.
Yeah. So, for me, it's gonna come down again. I think, like, even the game that they had the Mundo on, they were ahead and they just friggin' threw the game.
I remember he played Mundo and they completely man, God, they threw that game so hard.
They threw that game. Like, Tinks is actually, I would give him, like, everybody, like, the thing is, I want to give Trimby, but look who Trimby has around him. Like, think about that. You have Hansam as your ADC.
Are
you
talking about Rogue? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. In the sense of, like, if I had to compare rookies and how, like, how we were saying, like, Dardoch is the MVP. Tinks is the rookie to me over, like, Trimby, because look at Trimby. He gets
Trimby's been fucking garbage, dude. Trimby's like, oh my god, he's so bad.
Trimby has Hansama, Odoamne, Larson, Inspired. Like, you're good. Like, you can mess up, but those guys are gonna be like, "Hey, rookie, fix your mistakes." Where, like, who's the veteran? Treats, because he's like the oldest compared to, like, Gen X has been there. Gen X was like the last member left of SK. So, like, okay, so if it's all a matter of question of how hard Fnatic ints. If they don't int too much, they win the series.
Those are some nice odds you're putting there. If the better team just doesn't start fucking shit in the bed, then they're gonna lose. That's I can't argue with logic like that.
Because we've seen Fnatic make some of the weirdest dives and give over the dumbest kills and fight like they think they're in the Latin America.
It's like the fucking analysis back in the day. Faker, he could int some games, but he could also smash your laner. You can't argue with that one at that point.
Yeah, I have man.
This is
with
I think it's
preparation and everything.
I think it's still a hard stomp. I think this is just a hard stomp,
I
dude.
think SK has a better identity of what they want to play because Fnatic has been for 1 week they're playing through self-made, 1 week they're playing through Bippo, 1 week they're playing through self-made. Then another week we're gonna try
Then we're gonna try and play through upset, and
this year.
self-made never goes bot, so it doesn't matter if he's like on Kalista or fucking Kaisa and he's like 9-0 fucking ahead and shit. Or 1 week we'll just start diving consistently, just to fucking I don't know why, just because we're gonna play fucking Farm Simulator. I don't know. That's the problem with Fnatic though. But the issue here is like they throughout a best of 5, I think they just have the better players that'll just close it out. I don't see a world where SK Gaming win more than 1 game. And this is like giving them massive comfort, and they just SK Gaming would have to massively overperform for them to win. That's what I think.
I think SK can't. I mean, this is such a hard series, right? It's such a hard series because either team could beat the other team on a given day.
Yeah.
That's why it's like I think it's gonna be, and this is why again I hate best of ones because best of threes you gotta.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the controversial pick.
Oh my.
I'm gonna go with SK. I'm gonna go with SK. I just
all right.
This is the year Fnatic gets dumpstered out of
LEC playoffs.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Casually just exit out of Discord's call. Wants to go casually just start slitting throat. I already did this video before with T-Ru. I'm predicting Fnatic smash these guys 3-0. I just
okay.
can't.
I mean, it might be a hard 3-0, so that could be that
it
too.
It could be also your way too. Now here's what I'm trying to say. Like just how we had what was it last year for the LEC 2020 Spring Split playoffs? Remember, Mad Lions upset G2 and put them in the losers bracket. There's a good chance we could have another great upset right here. Pun intended, right? There's a chance. Like, I think people have been massively underrating SK Gaming though. Like, because they're like, well, they only really went through comebacks. I mean, supporting like Tinks and Treats are kind of putting them into that position to win games too. It's like the issue here is Fnatic, like you said. Like, they really can't, they gotta stop running with their heads cut off. But the problem here is, dude, they're playing on the stage this week, so they're not playing at home, so the pressure is on. It's like, are we gonna bank on the fact that these veteran players in Fnatic are gonna just int on the stage? I don't know. It's more likely that the rookies would do it from SK Gaming. So, that's what I'll say. On Saturday, G2 Esports versus Schalke No Fear. No, Schalke gonna win. Okay, this guy's fucking trolling. He meant G2. He just meant G2. Oh my god.
No, I got Schalke. I'm not even kidding.
All right,
I'm not even kidding. I got Schalke.
I think G2 smashed these guys 3-1.
I got Schalke.
Like Broken Blade, Gilius, and Abadage, I think have all improved. I think Broken Blade definitely is one of the best top laners in EU. Neon and Limit are fuck, dude. It's rough down in that bot lane. I think there's such a big bot lane gap between Neon, Limit, and Reckless and Mickey X that it's gonna cost Schalke the series, But that's just me. You're really gonna pick Schalke?
I think Gilius is better than Jankos, man. Like, look how the teams Jankos been on. Like, not Jankos, Gilius has been on. Like, and Gilius is still considered a good jungler. I just think when Gilius is on point, Dave said it, like, when Gilius is God Gilius, nobody can stop him.
I think people have kind of overplayed how good Jankos has been displayed, and there's a reason why. I don't think I even had him in my LEC 2021 Spring Split All Pro teams. I don't think I had him in there because he just honestly hasn't been the main focal point for G2 to win through. So that's just me personally. I think he's not had a
he had split. One game. Was it Lilia where he went like 10
yeah, he's had like one standout game. Like, he's had probably made like a few more than that. But the issue here is, like, I think Gilius has just played better overall. And Broken Blade, by how he's playing this split, he could probably beat Wonder. I could say that happened before.
And take how look at what Schalke did to get into the playoffs. They could have potentially not even make playoffs, but they won the games they needed to get into playoffs. That's when a team says, you know what, I'm gonna we're gonna buckle down, and I honestly think Abadage can stand up to Faker. Not Faker. Caps. I think Abadage, because we're talking about Faker, and that got in my head. I think Abadage can stand up to. We've seen Abadage when they made that miracle. I think Abadage is a highly underrated mid laner, all because of like. Remember, he
Casters.
came in. He came in. Well, casters, and remember he came in with Nemesis, and he came in with Humanoid. And what's happened to Nemesis? He's not in the league. Where's Humanoid? He's still doing pretty good. And I honestly think if he didn't have that miracle run, Abadage is off that team. Honestly, if it wasn't for that miracle, and I think he's performed fairly well.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't really done bad in lane. I put him top 5 if I had him. I think he's done well for the team. I think he's like to me, that's their franchise player. And then I have Broken Blade after that, personally. But the reason I have Schalke is because even though G2 lost to, I think G2 lost to Schalke. I think Schalke went 1-1. They lost, but they did go 1-1 in the season against them. So to me, that means that if everything stars align or if they're playing good, they can do it. So I just fucking hate G2. So even if G2 is a good, I know G2 is a good. Listen, if you watch this video, any G2 fans, I am not denying that all the G2 players are exceptionally good players.
His heart says Schalke, but his mind saying G2.
Yeah. So my heart says Schalke, but my mind says G2. But
that's an easy way. It's an easy cop out.
And the only reason I don't like G2 is because of the analyst of what they did at the Worlds at 20. Was it 19? Was that 20? When did FPX win?
2019.
2019, because everybody was making them the crown of they're gonna win it because Damon is out and Ice Cream King is out, and it's like, well, damn, they didn't like just they win the series and they haven't even played the final game, and I felt like the bias that and I'm surprised no one gave them flack.
Again. They dodged IG again.
Right, and like.
Oh shit!
G2 is just known for being these Korean teams, but every time, like, look at.
I think it was because like their playstyle works better against Korean teams, but their playstyle that they play against Korean teams doesn't work against Chinese teams because it's the same playstyle except the Chinese teams just play it better. That's just how I theorized it, you know. Because, like, when you factor in what they do, Korean teams sometimes like to take things a little bit slower, and SKT and Damwon, it was just SKT, they were playing slow, though, and G2 were playing really fast, and that was just a playstyle difference right there. But against someone like, you know, Chinese teams who, you know, play fast pretty much 24/7, that's not going to work against them, you know? It also because I think that people just kind of, I love Perks, man, but people kind of a little bit overrated him, saying he was the best ADC in the world. He was not better than Uzi. That was it. I don't know what game you're watching, or what crack you smoked, or what fucking, I don't know what mom you bent over and you put your fucking dick into her eyeballs or some shit, but he was not better than Uzi. He was not better than Teddy. So, I'm just saying,
Perks had Kai'Sa
and Xayah.
Ashe,
that was it. Kai'Sa, yeah.
And Syndra. But, like, and because...
Kabe was better than him. What are those best ADC? Kabe was better. He was just on a fucking shitty team.
I think, first of all, I think Misfits is being handled stupidly, but...
Misfits, right?
I think they're being managed because I like that organization. Honestly, I rooted for, when I became a huge fan of them when because I love to see the underdog. I love the underdog. I had Misfits because I hated Faker. I hate Faker. Like, I don't care what anybody tells me. I hate that motherfucker. Like, he's the unkillable demon king, but he got killed by his own region. Shut up. So like it's like I don't want to.
Are you projecting on the Korean fans?
No. It's just these things where like they put these like G2 and like when Suning went up against, for instance, and I don't want to go on a tangent. When Suning went up against G2 in the bracket, yo, how close was that game? Like I wish I find that game. I think if you had to put classic League of Legends game, watch that game between Suning with Sword Art on it
Yeah, dude, that game was
against G2.
amazing.
That game was
That's the best
so
game.
fire.
That's the
That's
best
the
game of
best game
worlds. That's the
I've
best game
ever
of worlds.
seen.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
I was reminiscing today too. Remember when it was the 2015 midseason invitational when Fnatic faced it against SKT? Not the best of 5. There was a best of 1 they played when Bane got the pentakill on Lucian when they still had fucking Steel
yeah.
back and shit. That's just classic League right there. Just like back and forth, back and forth. Another classic game would be when Samsung Galaxy faced off against SKT in Worlds 2016 finals when it was that really, really, really long game 3 where like Samsung was literally just slugging it out to actually finally beat them, and then they win a game 4, and you're like, oh, whoa, are SKT gonna lose? And then, well, Ruler kind of fucking into the way their championship, but it is what it is, and then they lost. It was just like, I kind of miss games like that. There's the games like that really don't happen anymore. Like, remember there was the game against EDG back in 2015 Worlds where Marin picked Renekton into fucking what was it, Coral 1? Yeah. Oh no, they were playing shitty J back then. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Little things like that. Yeah. What else was it back then? There's a lot of good games back then by a lot of regions. Unicorns of Love versus Fnatic. Remember when they had the Nexus base race? Holy shit, that was awesome. That was like, you just don't get that shit anymore.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like it's like like G2 is a team that got.
You're a TSM fan, so you would say Jensen fucking not hitting his fucking Zanyas.
No, I mean that's just. Listen, I've never. I'm like I said, I'm the most realistic. TSM TSM fan.
Oh my god, dude. Man. A lot of the TSM games, the most iconic one that a lot of people have in their minds is when Double F got that Lucian. There was a Lucian play he did against Cloud9 back in like 2016 finals for summer that year when they tried to wall him off and he dodged everything and he came back and he killed them all. Woo, man. Jensen casually throwing series again. Could have known, right? Yeah. Oh, another iconic game. It just happened in 2019, since we're on 2019, when G2 faced Fnatic in that base race, when the inhibitor was like literally 2 seconds away from respawning. You'll never know.
But yeah, I think the thing is like I think I just want to address the G2 fans.
Yeah.
And I know you I like G2. It's just I wish they didn't crown a king before he's won the war. And it's like I get it. Your team's good. I get it. You want your region to win, but you never like the LPL teams, the KR teams. Yeah, they're like they say this is the best team in Korea. They don't go like this is the best team in the world yet. Like some people may say that, but then they don't bring that narrative to like the big stage. And then when the broadcast is mostly European, it's kind of biased and like
G2 dick sucking half the time.
But I
Dude,
think
the casters didn't even know about Damwon. I was like, you're casting a best of 5 in the World Semifinals, and you know nothing about Damwon. Even if you didn't know how they played during the year, you literally just saw them last year. Like, but bro.
I'm gonna say one thing about both regions, and then I don't know where you're going off with that. I think LEC and LCS both leveled up. We saw a lot of closer games. The records indicated like the top 2, but then between 3 to 7
to 10th,
3 to 10th, it was like you didn't know, right? So I think both regions really leveled up in that sense, and we might see like better things going on to the summer. So I look forward to both regions again. And I'm going to be watching more LPL. I was kind of slacking, but now that my sleep schedule is going to be back in order, I'll be back. I might be able to do some. Yeah.
It's going to be really hard for me. Like, if you ever want to do like LPL stuff, I'm all down for that. I got to catch up on some games though, because I know I said we're going to have like fucking LCS and LEC videos, but there's a lot of people that do watch the LPL. There's just not a lot of content around it, honestly.
There's so many narratives going on, and then the fact that RNG like this is. I feel like this is Xiaohu's best split by far in a role that he just jumped into.
Watch him not win MVP though.
And I think the reason, and I don't, this isn't the LPL fan cast. I'm just saying that people don't realize he was under Uzi's shadow for so long, and you remember Uzi was hurt. You heard people say Uzi was a hard person to work with. Imagine being a good mid laner, but you got to be under Uzi's shadow, and now that shadow's like gone, and I just feel like people don't give that guy credit for what he's done. Like he's not. He's like the. I wouldn't say he's like. He should be in the top 5 when it's all said and done. I think he should be a top 5 all-time mid laner. How many semifinals he's been? A world's an MSI champion.
He's won domestic titles. He won like what?
He's won Yeah, he's won domestic. He's been to multiple semifinals. He's been to multiple titles as well. Multiple worlds. Never missed only worlds once, just like TSM. I think when it's all said and done, Xiaohu will get the credit he needs since Uzi's not there.
Or
but that's all I gotta say. Yeah.
It's like I was also thinking about doing videos where we're like making sure people remember like who these players are. But to do videos like that, I would need to actually edit a lot more than I do. Because I really do think a lot of people do not give Jensen credit. In like the same way you feel about Xiaohu, the same way I feel about Jensen. Like a lot of people just don't give Jensen credit. If we're being completely factual, Jensen has been our best performing mid laner at Worlds, and he's done what other mid laners from here were hyped up to do. I'm just saying, like a lot of people just like shit on the guy because he's mean and trash talks. Well, I'm sorry, you're such a fucking pussy ass bitch, and you can get out of your fucking mom's basement. Where you don't understand how to watch the game, though. People just don't really give Jensen a lot of credit, and I think a lot of people later on will start to understand, like, he's the only mid laner we've ever had finish top 4 at Worlds. The same thing also goes in with Sneaky, too. Like, Sneaky's been better internationally sometime, more or less so than Doublelift, right? Doublelift's just been better here, so it just kind of overshadows things. And I think people need to learn how to mutually separate them from each other. Because most people, when Doublelift was still playing, got mad at him for not doing well internationally because he would just do so well here, right? Sneaky did well internationally. No one even gave a flying fuck.
Right.
There was it's just how that works. That's pretty much it, though, unless you want to quickly predict Rogue versus Mad Lions. I'm saying Rogue win 3-1. Yeah? What happened?
Mad Lions 3-2.
This guy just wants to be out. This guy just
wants No. Because I think Humanoid's better than Larson. I think Karzi and Kaiser are better than Trimby, and they have better experience together, and I think they want something to prove after that last year World's performance, even though and I think they might try to. I think they want to go to MSI. They want to go there badly, so they want something to prove. And Armut Orome is even, in my honest opinion. I don't think either one can just have a good day. That's null and void. Eliola seems to be more versatile with champion pools and stuff, and inspired. So I'm going with that's what I'm saying 3-2. I'm not saying it's a 3. A lot of series is 3-2. I know it's kind of like no. I said 3-0. Okay, I'm gonna go with 3-1 for G2 and Schalke. I know you guys are crazy. I think I'm crazy, but yeah, that's my prediction.
I'll say Fnatic win 3-0 against SK. G2 win 3-1 against Schalke. Rogue win 3-1 against Mad Lions. I mean, it very well could be a best of 5 between all of them because I definitely think any given good day, Mad Lions could actually pull it out. But I would go more into that, but I actually already had because there's a separate video for that. But other than that, that's pretty much it for this week, guys. I'll see you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. I'm the Nightwing, and Way of Life Esports is signing out, guys. Peace, and have a good day. See you later, guys. Goodbye. 2.